Hey guys, welcome back to Home Built, and now that the Alfa is completely stripped down, it's time to start building the rotisserie. Alright, so those who've been watching, you've seen that I've pulled the engine out and every single piece of suspension, wiring, everything is completely stripped out of the Alfa now. And the next step is to send it off to the sandblasters. And before I do that, I need to put on a rotisserie so they can turn it around and get every single piece out of paint and rust and everything off of the car so we can see what we're working with. So we need to make some room to start working. Let's get the Datsun out of here and start building rotisserie. And for those of you who are wondering about the Datsun, the engineering reports have just come through. So hopefully in the next couple of days, I will actually have this Datsun on the road and I'll finally be able to do some drive videos because I still haven't really driven it. I've putted it up and down the street, but that is it. I'm dying to drive this thing. Okay, so the next step, as I said, is to get the car on a rotisserie. I've looked at lots of different types of rotisseries. I looked at buying them and I realized for less than half the price in the steel, I can actually make one. Now, there are lots of different options. If you see Jethro Bronner, who has been restoring old F105s as well on YouTube, he built a really cool one with an octagonal frame around either end, so you can sort of roll it over onto each side of the octagon and get to the car. That looks really complicated, and I also want something that I can easily get onto a car trailer to take to the sandblaster so that they can blast the car with it on the rotisserie. Somebody else also sent me a picture of a Mustang that's done with basically just big sort of half moon pieces of really thick plywood bolted to either end of the car. So they just sort of rolled it over and chocked it up with some bits of wood, and that was how they had the rotisserie made up. Not very interesting, but not the way that I plan on doing it. I'm going for a pretty simple traditional style of rotisserie, and I've done some sketches and my horrible, that's my detailed drawings, my detailed plans, and the rest of it I'll just make up on the way. So it's time to start cutting out some bits and pieces and laying things out, and I'll sort of give you some tips along the way on how I plan on making this all work, but let's see how it comes together. Okay, so what you've been watching me throw together is the end two frames of the rotisserie. Now I need to do a bit of a curve on the end of these two uprights and start putting in my rotating assembly into them, which is what the car will actually pivot on. And what I'm actually using for that is this really thick, heavy gauge steel. So all the stuff that I've been using is 65mm by 3mm box section for the framework of the rotisserie, and this, the actual pivoting part, is a massive thick tube. It's what is it? It's about 6mm thick, and it is it's about 90mm diameter out of diameter. So I've got that, and then the inner is fits inside that. It's what, 75-ish mil thick and also about 6mm. This fits inside nicely. As you can see, it's a tight fit, which is perfect, and that is going to be my pivot. So what I need to do now is I need to go through and put a curve into the top of my uprights so that I can weld this on top, and it will. This is what's going to be holding everything together. All right, so I've got my rotating assemblies on either end, and what I've done is I've welded in, just tacked in so far, captive nuts on either side. This is actually going to be what will lock the rotisserie at certain angles. As long as I've got the balance right, that works quite well, and that's actually how Tim has his rotisserie, so it works like that. Instead, I don't need a pin locking all the way through. I can just clamp down on the pipe inside, and it should stay where it is supposed to be. Now I'm going to go around. I'm pretty happy with the framework of all this. I'm going to go around now, and I think I'll weld everything up how it is, and I might even have to do some gussets underneath the front of these two. I've left these long deliberately so I can sort of gusset it and make it nice and strong. So let's start doing all of that. All right, it's really starting to come together. So basically what I've done is I welded these captive nuts on the side to clamp the central tube, and I just got some old, it's old concrete Rio bar that I had lying around. I just need something. I've welded at the top of the nuts, it's still a bit hot, but that gives me a T-bar handle so that I can wind them in by hand and lock the rotisserie, stop it from rotating. So the next bit is going to be taking, the next bit's going to be taking the bit that goes in here and welding a bit of square tube on the end, and that is our rotating assembly. And once that is done, I can show you what I'm going to do from there. Okay, so I have my two frames here, and as I come forward, I'll just show you through what I've done. So you've got the base of the frame, which is the legs that go forward, gives it balance, and I've got my gusset, I've got my centerpiece, I've got my locking tabs here, and this is the rotating assembly. So when I undo both locking tabs, the car will be able to rotate. And then when I went in to lock it in, I just turn it and tighten these up. They press against the tube on the inside, and it's nice and locked, and it's not going anywhere. So that is basically how both of these ends are going to work. Now, I want to have it so that you need to be able to detach it and sit it around the car. So I've got these two 4-meter lengths here that go underneath the car. They are going to be bolted on to the bottom of these, and that's how we'll have our adjustment. I'll just go through now and give you a bit of an idea on the dimensions, because I know I'm going to get people asking me the dimensions of this. So these lower lengths are 1200, the center is 1 meter, this is 900 high here, and these bits, that's 300, that's 400, that's about 400 or something. So that's your rough dimensions there of the rotisserie. So the total height off the ground should be, the pivot point by the time the wheels are on will be probably about 1.2 meters off the ground. All right, now it's time to move forward and work out how to attach these two long legs to the bottom of these. All right, that is looking really good. That's coming together just the way I had planned it. So now you can see how I'm bolting these together here. So this lower leg is adjustable and also removable, but it bolts together quite tight. So this is not going to go anywhere when it's all together. It'll hold together nicely once I finish welding it up. I did underestimate how many of these little plates that I've used on here I needed. For some reason I'm going, yeah, it's 2 on either end, so it's 8, but it's actually 16 plates because there's 2, 4, 6, 8, and double that. So I don't have enough of these. I've got to go and get some more of these, and I've still got to add a couple of gussets on the sides of this upright here to hold it into place, and I might even put another plate on the back just to tie it in, give it a little bit more strength. I'm pretty happy. Tim's used this style. He's made this style up very similar to this, and he had lots of gussets and stuff when he first started, and he ended up the later ones he made didn't have it because they don't need it. The car is actually really light when it's on this, but because I'm taking on the car trailer, it's going to bounce up and down. It can potentially snap this, and yeah, I just want to make sure it's extra strong. So gussets that way will stop it obviously falling this way and that way, but it'll also give it extra rigidity this way as well because it's tying it all in together. Anyway, that is all I've got time to do today. I'm out of material and out of time. Thanks for watching. As always, Patreon link in the description to help us out and watch it a day early, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks, guys.